everyone, I am simsweetie and welcome to this video where I'm going to be doing a little bit of a Photoshop tutorial slash like how I make and edit my Sims pictures and thumbnails and all of that, so just kind of the basic things in Photoshop that I use often. And I'm not trying to say I'm an expert in Photoshop or anything, but I do take a class for it at school, so I feel like I've learned a lot of useful things that I kind of just wanted to share with you guys. So if you don't have Photoshop, I know there's other programs like GIMP, but I don't have any experience with them. So this video is just going to be for Photoshop, but I think that's enough rambling. Let's go ahead and get into things. So first of all, I'm going to pull up my Sims 4 screenshots folder, which is where the screenshots go, and as you can see, I got a couple here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick out a picture of a Sim. I don't even know which one I should use. This is a big decision, isn't it? I have a lot of in-cast pictures of my Sims. I just take it with the game camera. I know some people will use print screen or whatever, but, you know, I don't. Okay, let's pick out a good one here. Where is the one I'm thinking of? Oh, here we go. I like this Sim a lot. So normally I'll just pick out a picture. I think this was a really good picture. We'll go ahead and do that one. Open it up. So here is what it just looks like when I open it in Photoshop. This is before any editing. It's not super like bright or anything, so what I'll usually do is I'm going to go ahead and make a new document. The size that I normally use for thumbnails and things is 1280 by 720 pixels. That's pretty standard for me. And then I'll go ahead and pick a color for that, and I'll normally use different color palettes. I'm going to put a lot of links in the description box, by the way, so for example, the link to this palette will be in the description, and I use a couple different ones, but for this I just feel like using this, and just kind of pick a color on here that you feel like would go well with your picture. So there's like a little bit of green in here, so maybe do something that complements like red and green. Blue is my go-to. I use the color blue all the time, so I mean, well, let's just do that. And then to make a gradient background, I go to the gradient tool and I have this saved as a preset, but the one that I normally choose is this one right here. And then I'll just click here, click that color we picked out, and do the same for here. And for this one, I'll click it, but then I make it a little bit lighter. Just kind of play around with it. It sort of depends on the color. And it'll create a little bit more of a gradient. So it's almost like a spotlight sort of effect in the middle. And then, okay, this is, go away. Thank you. Okay. Then just drag this across. You can press down on shift to make it straight. And there you go. You have a nice little background there. So now that we've done back, we can go ahead, hop back on over to here. The selection tool that I select to just get the Sim, because you don't really want the create some background in your pictures probably, and I think this would probably work best if you have a solid create a Sim background. I think the one that, like the default one is sort of an ombre kind of effect, and the one I use is a custom one. So I would recommend checking one of those out if you're using this method, but it works really well. I just do, I didn't even tell you guys what I click, select color range and click on the background, and then you can just pull on this, and you obviously don't want to like start doing that because then it's going to leave parts of the Sims behind. But you know, like right about here would probably be good. And then I go select, inverse, select, refine edge, and I will do smart radius, change this to 1.9, and go down here to shift edge, do -1, and go ahead and hit OK. And there you go, you got your Sim selected. So we'll go ahead and do this. Use the move tool and just move them on into here. Yay! Okay. And now we're not going to need this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and close out of it. And then, okay, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. I'm going to press Control-T to free transform it, or you can go ahead and go, I believe it's under Edit, Transform. Yeah, free transforms right here. Control-T. Control-T, And if you drag at the corners, hold down on shift, and it will make it so it maintains its aspect ratio. And you can just kind of find a spot in here. I don't really like to have my sims in the center. I just kind of like them to be a little bit more asymmetrical. Therefore, I'm going to place her right about here. I'm pretty satisfied with that. And now this is what we have. What I like to use is I like to download Photoshop actions. So this one is from HoloSprite. Again, link will be in the description box. So you just run this. It puts the stroke and the shadow on it. And then I normally will turn it up to around 50 because I like it to be a little bit darker. Depending on the background color, you could probably even go darker on this. Yeah, I like the background to really pop out. And then I'll use the simple sharpening. And then this is what makes the biggest difference. I use the coloring, and you'll see it just makes everything look so nice and vibrant. And I will show you guys sort of an alternative to this in a second here. But the other thing I like to do is I click on the sharpen tool, and I have the strength set to 75. Make sure you're clicked on the correct layer, and I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit here and make this a little bit bigger. And then I'll just basically go over the eyes, you know, until can you see that like difference it made? Like, yo, that's a huge difference. And it just will really bring out the features. So I normally go over eyes, make sure to get in there, go over eyebrows, around the nose, and around her lips, on her teeth, like sharpen her eye bags, chin, jaw. I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen her face paint. And normally that's about it. That's normally what I kind of will get in there in detailed sharpen. So if you go from here to here, you could see her features pop out way more. And that's kind of what we got going on here. From this point, if you wanted to spice it up a little bit more, you could add a border. So I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm just going to fill it using the paint bucket tool, fill it with white. And then what I've been doing for this, there might be an easier way to do this, but I've never figured out how to. I'm going to go ahead, go Control T, and I'll bring this in a little bit using these measurements. So I'll go change that to, like, depending on where you want it at, this is kind of like your own taste. I think I'm going to put it at 98 is probably about good, and set that somewhere around the same. I feel like it needs to go in a little bit more. And that looks kind of equal. Now it looks like that. And then I'll just duplicate this layer, fill it with different color. For example, black. And then Control T that again and take it in a little bit more here. Again, depending on your taste. Everyone's a little bit different. I kind of want this to be thinner, so I'm going to make it like 99. And I'm like never able to make these things look even. Maybe like 99.5 would be like, no, other way. Like 98.5. Normally I'll just make one and then save it. So I don't have to do this every time. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I don't want to do that. Okay, that's probably kind of close. And enter that. Click here. And then I think you can delete this layer, right? Yeah. Go ahead, delete the layer. And then you're on this layer and just press delete. And it will erase all that. Select and deselect. And for the blending options, I like to use overlay. And put a little bit of a drop shadow on that, somewhere around 50. Sometimes I'll even put it down lower. Okay, I'm trying to drag this over here. At like 25 or something. But again, personal opinions. Let's put that at like, I kind of like it at 50 though. I like it at 50. Yeah. I can't make a decision. We'll put it at 40, you know, drag it down a little bit. Now, this is what we got going on here. I think I'm going to add some text to this image, even though normally if it was just a picture of my sim, this is basically how I would upload it. But for the purpose of this video, I will add some text. So I like to make my text white normally, and we'll pop over here to the text tool. And for my fonts, I have a bunch of custom ones installed, and I have a Word document, this is it, where I write the name of all of the fonts that I have. So the ones that I use a lot on my channel are Basum. Maybe how you pronounce that? Besum? I don't know. Basum 2, however that's pronounced. And Shoreline's Script Bold. And I would normally do that something like, type in Basum. And the Sim's name is Manon. So I'm just going to write Manon and then Control T and scale that up. And put that there. And then I would create another one. Go ahead and do Shoreline Script Bold. And I don't even know what I want this to say. I think it's something to write. We'll write create a sim. Or I'll probably just write cast. Yeah, sure. It should be longer. Create a sim. That'll look a little better. Scale it down. There's some cool things you can do with this font too. Like if you do the / then it creates that. If you do the \, it does that. So I think there are other options too, but I don't know what they are. So, just a little something extra to spice this up. And I'll overlap them a little bit. And I will add a drop shadow on there. So double click, drop shadow. Here are my settings I normally use. And then for text, I'll put this up to 75 because I like to have the text really pop. And do the same thing for the other thing. And then decide where I want to place this. I really like to put text down here. I just think it looks nice. Or over here. Over here. I think it looks really good down here though. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty cool. And maybe drag this down a little bit. You want people to be able to read it. And one advice I would have for putting titles or text in your video thumbnails is that you don't have to put everything in the title, because when I first started my channel, I would really worry about having the entire title in my thumbnail. Like, if it was a create a sim, I'd want to have like Sims 4, create a sim, whatever, inspired sim, like all these words. But ultimately, that's what the title is there for. So I just kind of put like some key points in there, and I would probably, scoot her over a little bit if this was a thumbnail. And move this over a little bit, that kind of thing, just to make it look sort of nice. But I quite dig this. This turned out pretty cute, and that's what this looks like. But sometimes, if I feel like making the text look a little more modern, I'm going to show you some different fonts that I really like. There are some bolder fonts that I really dig. One of them would be Nexa Russ Sans. I'm going to write Menon. This one looks pretty nice. Or I also like Big John. This one I've been really into lately. I like how, angular it is. Is that a word? I don't know. We'll just pretend like it is. Scale that up. And do create a sim. And for this font, there's a couple that I really like. One that I've liked is Stellar, and I want to write this in all caps, so I'm going to write that again. Okay. One of them I like is Stellar is a good one. That looks like that. I like, what's the other one I was just thinking of? It just left my mind. I think there's one I like called High Tide Sans, but I think it always refuses to show up in Photoshop. So, where is it? Is it here? I don't know. Here's what High Tide looks like. Pretty fancy. Pier Sans. I really like that one. That's just a really nice, simple one. I'm kind of feeling like maybe Stellar's the way I want to go. Should I check in here real quick at some of my more simple fonts? Yes, this is what we got going on here. Yeah. See, here's High Tide Sans. I like that one a lot too, but I can never find it. Oh, this is the one I used a lot. I don't know how you pronounce that. Yeah, sure that. I really like this one too. That's besides the point. I'm just gonna use Pure Sans, okay? That looks too bold. I'm just gonna use me photoshopping, literally. Stellar. Okay, I'm satisfied. And then choose how big you want that to be. Normally I don't like to have them overlap if I'm doing a more bold style. I don't know why. I don't have an explanation for that really. And then I will go into a place, where is it? Here? Yes, it is. And select that And to make this pop up, I believe you would just go into Windows and choose Character. But I have it right here. And you can choose the spacing, which I think is a really awesome thing. And it just can really make your thing look more modern. I don't know why. It just does. Don't ask. Don't question it. Somewhere around here-ish. Yeah, sure looks great. And you can also do things like italicize it, which can create a super cool effect, if that's what you're going for. And then add our drop shadows. 75. 75. Not 76. Get it together, Macy. There you go. And normally I put these above the grouped layers. Did it really make a difference? It kind of lines it up. There you go. And, whoops, not what I meant to do. Oh, if you want to center it, what you can do is if you have the ruler on to turn it on and off, you hit Control R. And you can drag these down, just from the top, from nowhere exactly. And you can line them up right there at 5 inches. That's right in the middle. I don't know if those are in inches. I really don't. And then just Control T both of those and center it up. That's something I learned in digital photography class that I use all the time now. And that's what we got right here. So that's a little bit more of a modern styled thumbnail or whatever. And as for editing a screenshot sort of thing, I gotta pick a nice little screenshot out in here. I really like editing ones where they're outside. So, oh my goodness, I have so many in here, yet I can't exactly find. Actually, there might be a really pretty one in here. There probably is. Which one is really pretty? I take forever to make decisions. Let's go with, I forgot I took these pictures. I haven't edited them yet. Let's just go ahead and do this one. You know, that's kind of fun. I don't like that. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do this one. I'm gonna like this one, I know it. Yeah, okay, that one's good. And as you can see, the image is kind of a little bit dull. So you could do something like use Hollow Sprites coloring, which I really like, makes it look really nice. There's also this color pop action that I really like and I used a lot, which you can run that. And it's doing its thing. Doing its thing. There we go. And then you can either darken it or brighten it. But if you want to edit it on your own, that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do right now. So if you don't want to install Photoshop actions, you can do it this way. First thing I like to do is go into levels and drag these around. This definitely needs some more brightness in here. Let's figure this out. Choose where. I'm just going to leave that at 1. Yeah, it just kind of depends on your picture. Gotta just kind of use your eye to do that. And I sort of play around with every picture. I don't do the exact same editing methods for every photo. And then you can go ahead and do something like, then I'd probably do brightness if you want to add some brightness in here. I like to have some pretty bright pictures, and you'd probably want to up the contrast with that so it doesn't end up looking too blown out. So from here to here, we already have a super bright, beautiful image. Then you can go ahead and, I would say, go into hue and saturation. And you're probably going to want to up the saturation a bit and just make those colors really just stand out here. Somewhere around, I don't know, 20. Again, it's going to depend on the picture. So there's that from here to here. It's a big difference. And then I would say maybe add some more exposure in here. Ooh, that gets dangerous. You know, kind of just brighten things. Okay, I don't like that. Maybe go back into levels. See if these are a little more even. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more into here. And just adjust this until I am satisfied. That looks too bright. Okay. Maybe I'll change the lightness. Go back into hue and saturation. And there we go. Yeah, bring that lightness up a very small amount because this starts to not look so good when brought up too far. I'd say keep it under 10, or at least for this picture. Okay. I think I'm just about good with the lighting there. It looks a lot more vibrant and brighter. Next, I will do sort of the fun color balance thing. For this, I have two options. One that I like to use is the photo filter, but I don't know if all versions of Photoshop has this because the Photoshop that I use at school doesn't have this option. But there's basically just a bunch of really cool filters, and you can choose them. And I also like to add this as a layer. Put it down here, and you can choose whatever one you want. I really like the cooling filters, to be honest, because I like cool pictures, or I like to use something like magenta. Violet can be pretty nice, but I'm a big fan of the cooling filters. I think it just adds it nice. But since there's already so much blue in this picture, I feel like something like magenta would be better, and you can get rid of some of the opacity on that. There you go. And then let's add another one. Let's get crazy here. Let's add 2. Because I do what I want. And then add this blue in here. But I'm going to fade the opacity on that a lot, so that it's not too overpowering. Okay, so now if we go from, where did this start? Here to here, you can see it has taken on an entirely different color, which I think is pretty cool. But if per se, I don't think that's the right word I was looking for there. But say your Photoshop doesn't have that, you can just go into color balance and edit it this way. This is normally what I'll do at school. So I'll put a little cyan in there. Normally I add some cyan and magenta and blue. I think these things look pretty nice. Even though I think this might look good with some red. Like, that looks pretty great, right? Just kind of play around in here. You could do shadows, highlights. The Photoshop at school doesn't even have this that I use, and just, you know, get all crazy in here. I'm just kind of dragging stuff around. What do we got here? That looks better in red. Ooh, is that some magenta there? And we'll line it up here. There we go. So you could do that too. Again, that... Oh, I got a text. Wonderful. Okay. Got distracted there. So that's that. I don't know, do I have anything else I want to add to this video? Normally I would put the frame on it again, because I think that looks pretty rad on pictures, and just do that same thing. Maybe I'll just drag it over here just for funs. Just for some funs. Can I even do that? Yes, I can. Duh. Go ahead and select that. Just drag that over. You know, hold down on shift so that it matches. Oh, I brought over the wrong thing. You know, yeah, I'm intelligent. I'm a Photoshop master, obviously. Okay. There we go. And you actually probably want to resize this image. Still have these over here. This is becoming a mess. Delete those layers. So change the image size to be like 1280 by 720 if you're going to make this a video thumbnail. If you're not, then it doesn't really matter. So, yes. And see, there you go. Make sure that's centered. You can put in your guidelines here. Woo. Where's the center? There's the center. Real good at this, everyone. Okay. Control T, and then this little thing. You see this little thing right here? That's where the center is. So then you could center it. And there you go. It adds a little something to your image, so you can choose whatever you like best. You'll just put all these layers on. It's a very colorful image now. Oh, and the other thing, last thing. You can go ahead and go into here and use the sharpen tool to sharpen up your image and do the same thing that I did for the other picture, if you want to, you know. Sharpen. I'm not even sharpening the right thing, am I? No, I'm not. Filter. Sharpen. There you go. Sometimes that can be a little strong, so you can also... What I will do sometimes is duplicate the layer, go ahead and sharpen it, and then reduce the opacity to whatever, however much I want it sharpened. But it'll still sharpen it, it just won't quite be as much. But most of the time what I'll just use is I'll just go into Hollow Sprites Actions, and use her simple sharpening because I like the way that looks. And there you go. If there's anything else that you guys would like to know about when I Photoshop or edit video thumbnails or whatever, then let me know, because I would like to tell you guys. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. You can also change the opacity on this. I didn't mention that, but yeah, change the opacity, go nuts. Anyway, I'll be returning to making Sims videos very soon. I'm just like busy with like school and blah, blah, blah. Excuses, I know, but it's just been crazy lately. So in the meantime, I am being very active on my Tumblr. Check that out. It's simsweetie.tumblr.com. A link will be in the description, and a bunch of other links of things I mentioned in this video will also be down there. So make sure to subscribe. I will talk to you guys in my next video. And yeah, bye. Why have I never had a normal outro? Can someone like please explain that to me?